Welcome to my channel. It's Violet, and it's time for you to get everything you want, which, by the way, is already yours. So, if you're anything like me, you've already realized that life is crazy and life is wild. And I know you're watching this because your life is probably both crazy and wild. But let's be honest, you came here for this. Like, deep down inside, you know that you're a badass. And if you found this video, then it's a major sign that you're about to jump timelines and experience more personal power and more peace as you release your resistance. So you're going to start to flow with what is, and you're going to start to channel more of what you actually want into existence. And I'm going to tell you how to reprogram so that you can easily overcome obstacles, because all is mental and energetic. And once you know that, you can literally set a container to program how you want it to be, and you'll see it change in your reality. So let's drop it down low and catch this flow. So I really want to tell you the fastest way to overcome obstacles, because I feel like life is like Tetris, right? Change is constant, obstacles are constant. Like, the obstacles are never going to stop coming. But once you learn to reprogram your beliefs, you create this container that holds you in this really empowering way. And you'll learn to channel your energy in a powerful and positive way instead of like the way that most people channel it. So most people channel their energy by using it to just like focus on the wrong things, using it to complain, to act powerless. And then it's like the more you focus on what you don't want, that flows and grows. And then you'll be like, oh, I don't know why this is happening. It's like because you're doing it to yourself. So I want to really show you how to do it the right way, because this is like no one gets a manual. And basically, it's a skill and a muscle that you train yourself to do. And then it really just takes over and it merges into the fabric of your humanness. Till you basically get to the point where you're like, I'm just like this. This is how I'm set up. And this is kind of where I've gotten to, because I was definitely not this person years and years ago. So I just want to tell you a little bit about my story so you understand exactly where I'm coming from and where I've been and where I've traveled to presently and how I've gotten here. So I would say that I'm the queen of shadows. I love the darkness. As a little kid, I used to just sit in my room and cry and feel and think and just really be in it. And even though it gave me a lot of anxiety, I feel like it really trained me for life, because not much bothers me now. So I'm the queen of shadows. I take all the bullshit of the darkness, all the stories that hold me hostage. I'll take it in, I'll chew it up, I'll swallow it, and I'll breathe it back out as fire as I vibrate higher. Because light really comes from owning and transforming the darkness, whether it's yours or out into the world. And it's a skill that, I don't think a lot of people have, but you can train yourself to take everything in and transform it. And I'm the girl who also cheated death. I don't know if you've read my best-selling book on Amazon, but if you have, you're probably familiar with some of the struggles and things I've overcome. But if you're not, I moved back to LA back in 2018, and I was hit by, like within a few weeks of getting here, I was hit by an F-150 work truck at like 65 miles per hour. My kill switch went off in my Audi. It was filled with smoke. I remember being in the middle of traffic and being just shocked and stunned and like, oh my God, what just happened? And that year I had 4 car crashes, and they told me like, hey, you're not going to be able to run again. You're going to need surgery. But I was like, fuck that. You're not in control of my reality. I don't need any of that. And I was set out to basically started going to cryotherapy, which helped with inflammation. I started going and getting hyperbaric oxygen treatment. I used my imagination to see my healthy body like strong and all my cells functioning in perfect harmony. And you know what? In 3 months, I was able to start running again. And that was 6 years ago. And to this day, I still sprint daily. I do HIIT, I do ballet. I do whatever I want to do with my body. I'm healthy and I'm strong. And that's what I manifested, because I set the container to be, this is what I want and this is what it's going to be. And that's exactly what it was. And, occasionally I'll have like some back pains and, some issues and stuff, but it's really not how they told me it was going to be. And then, some other things happened to me that were so bad. Like a couple of weeks later, then there was like a dog attack with my little Maltese. And I won't get into the super, insane specifics, but it was pretty intense and it was pretty wild. His jaw was dislocated. Blood was everywhere. He basically got attacked by 2 big bull mastiffs, and they were basically biting him and shaking him. The owners were like, oh, they just want to play. And honestly, it felt like pure evil. Like somebody had been set to just like fuck up my existence. And, I was frozen. At that time, I still had a lot of work to do on myself, and I was about to hit like a crossroads turning point. And I remember just like the blood and this and everything that was going on, and I was frozen. And it was like there was no voice. I couldn't get my voice out. And I just heard spirit say, like, if you don't do something now, he's going to fucking die. And I remember just like taking action and throwing myself on top of him and, blocking him. And then the attack stopped. And I got him up in my arms, there's blood everywhere. And I got up by the fence, and the owner let the dog jump on my back, and I stutter stepped, and I almost fucking fell down. And I was like, oh my God, what? Like inside, there was just like, I was so fucking angry. Like my eyes were filled with anger. I just shot rage, like daggers at the owner. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I mean, literally, he was getting attacked and almost dying. And then you let the dog jump on my back. And like, I still held him. I stutter stepped and got my, I regained balance. And it just felt, it was so evil. It was the creepiest thing I probably have ever experienced in my life. And I had the choice to basically run after the owners because they simply walked away, or get him to the hospital. And, it cost me $5,000. I had to pay in cash later. He got operated on, they fixed his jaw, and we basically healed together, and I gave him a lot of Reiki. I hand fed him. And then basically a week later, the person I was seeing who was staying with me went back to England, and I was brokenhearted. And it was like, that whole month, it was like boom, boom, boom. Like, how they say things come in three? It was wild. It was like my body was wrecked. My Audi was wrecked. My dog Miles was wrecked. I almost, he almost died. I was brokenhearted. Like, I was in bad shape. And it started getting darker and darker. And I just remember, how when you're just so sad and so stressed out and so overwhelmed and just going through, like, I would say the rage and the anger is more exhausting than just one or the other. And it kind of makes you weak and just tired. And I realized like I was full, and not in a good way. There was like no more space in my mind and no more space in my energetic body. Like I couldn't take on any more trauma, no more like traumatic stuff. I just wasn't able to sleep at night. My heart was racing from the accident, and I was still feeling like unworthy and worthless from not being chosen by my partner. I had so much shit to work out at that time. I was a fucking wreck. Like I do not even recognize that person. So I just got to the point where I was like, something has to be done. Like, I have to figure out how to heal. Like, I don't know. I was so sad that I was in my apartment in California, and it was like, I miss my parents. Like, when you cry for your parents, like, you're that fucked up. You just want your parents. Like, you feel almost reduced down to this level where you just feel small, And I was just alone, and it was dark. I was having like, what do you call it when you're having like sleep paralysis, and I was seeing stuff in the corner of my room. Like it was fucking intense. Like I was in a bad way, and I was hitting this like tower moment. So I just decided like I'm going to start doing sensory deprivation. And I remember going into the sensory deprivation tank and not wanting to be in there because like you can sometimes be a little claustrophobic. And then I remember, going in there and being like, oh my God, it doesn't feel like I have a body. This feels like so freeing. I know sometimes people go in there, they have anxiety, but I felt like so free. Like I was just pure consciousness. And I started doing like exercises, visualization exercises to visualize myself, forgiving people who had, I felt like hurt me. And I remember seeing, myself blossom from like one dress into this red dress, and it was like I was healing, and it was really beautiful. And then I was just doing anything I could. I was meditating more, I was working on myself, and it was just, it made me think about everything that had happened. I had come from an abusive marriage with a raging drunk alcoholic who would basically gaslight me and never take responsibility for any of his bad behavior. And then everything was just coming up for me. It was all at once. It was like vomit, And then thinking about how I had been raped in college, even despite saying no. And that made me just want to jump out of my fucking skin. Like I just felt worthless. And I had beaten cancer at 18 in 8 months. And there was just so many things that it was time to overcome all this shit. And it was like spirit was preparing me to get through this shit, to figure out how I could help other people. I mean, it wasn't for nothing, but at the time, right when shitty shit's happening in your life, in your mind, you're like, what the fuck is happening? Like, can I just get a break? Can I just have like a timeout? Could I just sit down for a second? But there are no breaks, right? Like life just keeps coming and coming. And this is why this information is so important, because I want you to get to a point where you're like, no, I got this. Like I can create a container based on my belief system. I can reprogram. I can set the stage for being able to overcome things easily. And for me, I was born as, highly empathic, highly sensitive, psychic. And I remember just being like so overwhelmed by people's energy, noise, stimuli, like everything just felt really intense on top of the challenges that I was, facing. So it's like as you're growing up, you're trying to figure out who you are, how you fit in the world, like what works for you. And it feels like honestly just absolute chaos, right? Because you're trying to figure it out, but it's like Tetris. The obstacles aren't stopping, and you're like, yo, could I just get a break? But you don't get a break. And, if you're like me and you feel really deeply, because you probably do, and you overthink like I used to, you're basically generating anxiety in your body and you're draining yourself, right? Because you're focusing on the what ifs and the negatives and you're dwelling. And the good thing about anxiety is like, because you have that focus and you could get so focused, you can also turn that focus for good. And you can be like a monster, just magnetic manifester, like amazing, if you can learn to channel your energy. And I know that right now, if you're listening, you're ready to summon back all your power. You're ready to change your life. You're the creator, you're the alchemist, you're the change maker. You're going to create this container that will support your healing and always be able to reprogram so you can overcome any obstacle because you are so powerful. And whatever you say it is, based on the law of assumption, it is going to be. So, back in April, I found out that I needed a breast biopsy. And I also found out that I had cancer again in one of my lymph nodes because of stress. And, like 25 years had gone by and I was like, why the fuck is this happening? And there were more lessons. There were more lessons. And yet I was the calmest I've ever been. And I was the happiest and I was present despite these very real challenges. I was on a level because of reprogramming my mind, because of everything that I've learned along the way. I saw people that didn't have challenges that I had, but they were more miserable. And I was still able to be in a state of peace. I remember waiting for the results and sitting outside with my dog and just being like blissed out. And knowing that all of my beliefs were supporting me in being happy and peaceful. So here's what you do. You're going to paint the picture of your reality. Level one is where we all start, right? We feel like we don't know who we are. We don't know how to reprogram. We don't know how to control our energy. We don't know where to focus. We believe shit that's not true. And that's why we're fucking miserable, to be honest. And in level one, you're like, oh, I'm a victim. I hate what I'm going through. I resist everything that I've already manifested. I don't know how to channel my energy. You think you're not strong, but you are. You think you can't handle it, but you can. And you'll just fight against what is, and you waste all of your energy not knowing that you're the creator of your reality, that you can reprogram, that you can make it feel good in this container. And what I'm saying is you're creating this foundation through the mental and energetic way that you alchemize your experience. And then you realize you've been going about it all wrong, until this moment right now. So think about some of these beliefs, and these are going to help you feel like you're unfuckwithable. This is how you build a strong foundation. And you can do what I say in my other videos, make a voice note and listen to this every day until it becomes normal. You can also get subliminals made, but do what you need to do to reprogram your mind to support you being happy, being peaceful, knowing that you're unfuckwithable, knowing that you came here for this, that you're ready, that you're in full submission to the experience that you're having with spirit. Number one, you no longer resist, but you persist. You don't fight against what you've already manifested. You conserve your energy by fully accepting exactly where you are. And number two, you see life as an adventure and you feel excited to experience and learn whatever you need to learn. And number three, you know that you're strong. You actually know that you can handle anything. Or if you're not quite there yet, you'll have help along the way. Spirit will always send you help, or you'll ask for help and you'll receive it. Because once you ask, you definitely receive it. And number four, when you're going through hard times, you make yourself the number one priority, extra priority. You check in with yourself and you're like, in the morning, first thing, don't scroll on your fucking phone. Look at yourself. What do I need? What do I need to feed? What do I need to feel better? Where am I at? Do I need to eat some fucking cake for breakfast? Do I need to call out of work? Do I need to meditate? What do you need? Do you need to go move your body? You need to be so in tune with yourself because this is going to cut out a lot of the anxiety and a lot of the bullshit. Check in with yourself. What do you need? And then give it to yourself. You are fucking unapologetic in the way you listen and support yourself. That is 101 power move. And I know this because I used to ignore myself and abandon myself and what the fuck was I thinking? That is not empowerment. So ask what you need. Tune into yourself. Give it to yourself. Be unapologetic in the way you listen and support yourself. Number five, stop playing the shoulda, coulda, woulda game. That is the most just down the infinite rabbit holes. That is an endless rabbit hole you will never find peace in. So don't do that. I know it's tempting to be I could have done this better. I could have done that. And then I wouldn't be here. But it's all meant to be. It's all par for the course. So stop doing that. And number six, look at what you're learning and embody the lesson. Because once you embody the lesson and you learn and you see it as oh, what's going on here? Usually, like, you'll integrate the lesson and you'll get it, and then the resonance is gone and there's no more charge. It will leave your reality. And this is what happens with a lot of karmic relationships or abusive things or things that like you eventually find your way out of, is like they end because you've learned the lesson. You're no longer a match to that frequency, and so it no longer happens to you. And 7, you understand that life is happening not to you, but for you. Everything is for your benefit. Everything is for your growth. Everything is for your happiness. For you to figure out who you truly are and what you truly want and where you're going. It's happening for you, not to you. So I need you to believe that. Believe that it's always working out for you. And circumstances do not matter, because what it looks like doesn't matter. It's still going to work out for you. It can look terrible. It could be like entropy and all chaos and clearing it out and like what is happening. Excuse me, but it's still working out for you. And 8, you're going to use creative visualization at night. You're going to see and feel the life you want. And you're going to basically just really feel it and think about it and obsess and fixate and just really get into the like what you're creating. But do not obsess and fixate on how it already is if it's not what you want it to be. Stop looking at reality and looking at 3D. Sometimes, like, well, this would bring me to the next thing, number 9. You know that 3D takes some time to catch up. So if you're reprogramming and you're working on new beliefs and your energy is changing, it's going to catch up. The 3D doesn't catch up right away sometimes, but you have to hold hope in your heart and generate that excitement. Generate the feeling of like, it's coming. I know it's coming. Like, I know that I'm manifesting something different. And that is everything. And then 10, indulge in pleasure and be present. You know, be happy and surrender to where you are right now. Because like whenever you surrender to right now, and I know it can be hard sometimes because you're like, fuck this, I don't want to be here right now. I don't want to be here. But once you surrender and you're just like really like get into it and you're like, oh, okay, like I'm enjoying where I am. Like originally you were not, but now you are. And you surrender to like being in full submission. I'm telling you, whatever you wanted or want comes right around the corner. And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't know if I wanted that. Like, yo, I just went into full surrender. So for instance, like I remember, you know, just being single and finally getting to the point where being like, oh, I'm so happy alone. Like I'm doing my work and I'm good. And then literally the universe would send me a person and then that would be my next partner. And I'd be like, dude, you made me surrender to being alone. And the minute I fully was in that, now you're telling me there's this person. Now I don't know if I want that shit. Like, fuck you. And that's how it works every time, at least for me. And maybe you've experienced that as well. It is so funny. And this is why I say have a sense of adventure, because I feel like the universe spirit has jokes. Like it's jokes all the time, you know? And if you can't laugh at it and you can't lighten the energy, then it's going to be really rough for you. And 11, this is a big one. Just deeply tune into your feelings and realize like, don't hold on to your feelings or the stories forever. You feel it, you free it, fuck it, on to the next bucket. Like always be moving, because change is constant. Like you can't hold on and just make something your identity and be like, oh, I'm stuck here and it's forever and I'm gonna keep talking about it forever and ever. You know those people that they constantly talk about shitty shit forever? It's like, dude, do you even want to be out of this? Or are you just like, this has become your identity? This is all you talk about. It's exhausting as a person watching that. So like, I know it's exhausting if you're actually doing that. So as long as you can keep moving the energy and letting go and being open to it moving, you know, you're shaping a new story and you're preparing yourself to be your best self, to access your highest timeline, you know? And number 12, as much as you're uncomfortable, just know that it is just a moment in time. This is like the biggest one. You're uncomfortable. It sucks wherever you're at. You don't quite know how to like focus or transition or do whatever you need to do, but it is just a moment in time. Do not make it bigger or less than. You know, you're not scared. You're simply experiencing it as nothing more, nothing less. Like, don't be scared of it. Just let it be what it is. And number 13, don't be ashamed to ask, you know, whether it's friends or family or angels of the universe. You're never alone, you know, and ask for help. Like I said earlier, like people get this idea like, I'm alone, I'm tortured. No, bitch, we're all on 3D. We're all tortured. We're all here. No one's alone. We're all experiencing the same stuff. And maybe it's not the exact same stuff. It is very similar, you know? So it's like no one's alone. We're all just, you know, walking around in this weird, wild planet like, yo, what is happening? So talk to people, you know? Like, don't feel like you're alone. You have support. And 14, lastly, you know, like I said, everyone's experiencing similar stuff, and don't make yourself feel lonely, because you're going to have like extra anxiety if you isolate yourself and feel like you're alone. Now, it's one thing to take time to be like, I need to process, but then there's an isolation where you really feel alone and you're like purposely going away from people. And that's not always the healthiest. So, what I'm saying ultimately is reprogram your beliefs to things that are what I've just said or similar, whatever works for you. And then that's you taking empowerment, creating a container where you will always win, you will always grow, you will always get better. Like things are going to work out for you because you're taking control of your reality by what is in your mind, by your models of reality, your beliefs, your feelings, your thoughts, and you're controlling them, you know? So when you're under stress and you start feeling overwhelmed, things are always like heavy. But when you create this mental foundation, you kind of go on autopilot where it's like they just become so ingrained. You won't be questioning everything. You know, when you have empowering models of reality, you'll just be processing stuff and you'll be holding a lot, but you'll feel strong and you'll be able to take care of yourself because whatever you go through, it's like, okay, I'm going to come out better and more aware. And like, that's your belief. And so that's what it is. It's not like, oh, it's really horrible. I don't want to feel this. I can't handle this. No, you now have a container where you can fucking handle this. You came here for this. Like, you were ready for this. So even if reprogramming feels a lot and you're not familiar with this, like years ago, I was like, what do you mean reprogram? Like, reprogram what? Like, you're not thinking like the pieces of you are not all you because we've all been programmed through music, authority, TV, everything. And you ever just wonder, like, who are you really? Who do you want to be? Who can you program yourself to be? Like, how can you be more of who you actually are? So if reprogramming feels like a lot and you don't think you're capable of, doing that right now, just start to be open, start to question your beliefs and start with a level of openness, but you'll get to the point where when you do start doing this, you'll have less anxiety, you'll take your energy and you'll channel it into, the life that you want. And it will just be amazing. It will really be amazing because you'll be able to hold your big emotions and learn to regulate your nervous system. And all of this can be learned in practice. And once you get better, you'll just feel powerful in any situation. Things will stop affecting you. You'll stop reacting. You'll just respond instead. You'll be calm. And you need to remember that I know sometimes life feels like really big, but if it's at your door, you're ready for more. That's just the way it is. Like, I know you're underestimating yourself because we all do, but if it's there, you're ready. And if you told me that as a highly sensitive person, I would easily overcome so many things, I wouldn't have believed you. Like the little me that was so anxious and overwhelmed turned out to be incredibly empowered and strong. And often I radiate, a peaceful energy, like no matter what's happening in my life, I'm the friend that like no one checks on really because everyone knows that I'm just this badass bitch and I'm the one that's holding it down for people, even when people don't know all this like insane stuff is going on because I've gotten to a level where I practice so much and that's where you're going to get. You're going to reprogram your conscious and subconscious mind and you're going to keep moving to the next level and the next timeline every day. So I hope that you found this helpful. It is really my passion and my purpose to see you feeling powerful, happy, peaceful, like knowing that you fucking got this. Like whatever comes, it's like, no, I got this. So I hope you know that you control your reality and you control your manifestations. I love you and I see you. Keep working it out without a doubt. It's going to be amazing. And if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, please send me a message at v@violetblack.com. And please, if you like this video, comment, like, share, follow for more ways to live your best life. I'll see you soon. Bye.